Hello again. So yeah, it's been a while. I've been a bit up and down. I had to come off my medication, my ADHD medication, just because they want to monitor my heart and lungs and stuff. Because the stuff I was on can affect that. And because of that, you get quite bad withdrawal from the stuff that I was on. And that causes, obviously, your withdrawal, plus it exaggerates symptoms. Like my anxiety and depression and other things that turns out might not be those. It might just be symptoms of ADHD themselves, but I don't know a lot about that. If you are looking to get more explanations and stuff, I did link a couple in my last video, a couple of people that they do more of it as a job. They do more investigations into mental health and neurological health, which are two separate things, by the way, which I didn't know. But basically, like, for instance, autism is a neurological issue, whereas depression, anxiety is a mental issue. I suppose it's because one is like when you're autistic, it's like there's no actual medication that I'm aware of that can actually really do anything about it, and that's because it is literally the way your brain is built. There's nothing exactly wrong with you if you're autistic. It is literally your brain is wired differently to the standard, to the neurotypical. Whereas anxiety and depression are things that are caused over time. But obviously, if you have neurological issues, you're more susceptible to having the mental issues as well, because in this world isn't built really to cater to somebody who is autistic. It's catered to everybody's brain working exactly the same, which it doesn't. So yeah, if you want to know, if you want to get more of a scientific explanation for things, or more of an understanding, a proper understanding, there are certain people, I can't pronounce her name properly, but I'll try and link it again in the description of the video. All the people that I think explain things really well. I can't remember her name. She's a very she like does one-on-ones with people. This American girl. Anyway, I'll link people in the description so that you can go and look at their videos, and they'll have more. Well, they certainly know a lot more than I do. I'm just here trying to give my view of the world and how I deal with it, I suppose. But basically, since sort of Christmas anyway, I've been up and down and round and every direction that you can think of in 11 dimensions. That's a Doctor Who reference, by the way. I've just finished karate. I haven't gone since they reopened after the Christmas holiday. I went once and then I sort of dropped off the wagon because my social anxiety had really spiked after coming off my medication. So my sensei, kindly enough, is allowing me to go after the session has finished, as a bit of a one-on-one Karate Kid, kind of session, just to get me back into it. Obviously I've lost a lot of physical health because I haven't been going, so just sort of get me back into the running so I can keep up with the other students, most of which are younger than me, but some of which are older, and they can all basically move a lot better than I can at the minute. I went today after they'd finished their session. He was kind enough to allow me to do that, and next week I'm going again Saturday after the session had finished, and then we're going to try and work me back into the group sessions, which I really appreciate. They're very kind. My senseis there, they are very kind and understanding people. So they'll do what they can to accommodate you and try and help any way they can. But and we had a good long chat afterwards as well. Once I was getting my breath back, that was probably one of the most intense sessions I've had for a while, just because it was me on my own, and we did, obviously we took our breaks for drinks, every sort of couple of I don't know what you'd call it, like segments. You'd stop for a quick drink and then get back into it, but basically he took me through every move that I have learned, just to catch me up, because we've got another grading session in April, I believe, or March. And I don't know all the names for them, but I'm a yellow belt currently, which means that there's 2 katas, which is kind of like the I don't know what you'd call them. Like when you do a full dance or something. The word for that it's escaped my mind. But so the katas are a combination of the moves. For instance, and you can look these up. There is Pinan Nidan, which is the second. It's actually kata number 2, but it's the first one we learn just because it's a little bit easier. Like, it's the easiest one to learn. So that's Pinan Nidan. I'm butchering the Japanese language there. I apologise. And then there is. So that's the one that you have to learn in my dojo anyway, to then do to graduate, I suppose, to yellow belt. But there's a lot of other things, moves that you do to graduate, and I have no idea what the names are. He says them every time we do them, but my brain doesn't allow me to learn other languages. I have tried. I even had a Spanish book for kids, and I still have no idea. Like, Spanish book, because my partner speaks 2 different dialects of Spanish, but also a local dialect, which is like a moderation of one of the dialects. So that's obviously the reason, because it should have been easier for me, because she can also speak it, so it's not just words written on a page or me copying something from Rosetta Stone or whatever it is. But anyway, so there's a few moves, a few punches and kicks and blocks and stuff that you do, and I've actually forgotten where I'm going with this. But basically, he took me through all the ones that I have learned that I should know already, just to catch up with my fellow students, and yeah, so that was very intense. It's probably not actually that intense, but it is because I haven't done it for a while. Oh, it's on my screen. But so I suppose the moral of that part is that because of my social anxiety, I'm afraid of people, and crowds and such. But karate or any sort of sport, I suppose, that you enjoy, or exercise or whatever, is good for the mind, and I always come away feeling good, although my muscles are screaming at me, but I always come away feeling really good, mentally refreshed. So yeah, I've completely forgot where I'm going with this. That is the issue with ADHD and autism. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that I really don't know. That's excuse me. That's funny. I've completely lost where I am. So basically, the moral of this story is that no matter how bad you feel, and you can always make excuses, blame it on not having the right medication, but in reality, it's your own mind that is stopping you, and it's not easy. I'm not saying this as a point of, oh, do this, you can do this. Like, yes, you can, but for some people, it is a lot harder than others. It's the story, I suppose, of, or a bit of a twisted version of the story of the 3 little pigs. It's, say, from the wolf's point of view, but instead of having the one wolf, we have 3 different wolves, let's say, and they each go up to the straw house, and one wolf finds it really, really easy to blow down the straw house. Fine, he can do it. easy, one breath, done. The second wolf is, let's say, is scared of the pig. So he freezes, he sits there, doesn't do anything. Or, backs away and goes away and doesn't bother, but that wolf is going to starve because he's afraid of his food source, which that's not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because it's a representation of somebody's mental state. And the third wolf, no matter how hard he tries, he can't blow down this straw house. And that's not because he's weak, but it's just simply this block is too hard. But that's what his own mind is telling him. That probably doesn't work, that analogy. Basically, what is easy for some people isn't easy for other people. But if you and you have to knock down that fence in your mind. But so I suppose some people, it was easy for the first wolf because he saw a straw house and he blew it down. Now, although this third wolf is going to this straw hut, he sees a brick house in his mind. That's what he is seeing. He is seeing a brick house. So, of course, he can't blow it down. The point is, he's got to fight himself and keep telling himself, no, that is not a brick house. That is a straw hut, and I can blow it down. It's easy. It's the getting to that point that is the hard part. And then I'm saying that as somebody who struggles with that. I said to my sensei today that every cell in my body was telling me, don't go, sit on the sofa. It's easier, just sit on the sofa, you don't have to go. But in order to better myself, I do have to go. And in order for me to break through that wall in my mind and realize how easy it really is, I have to force myself. I have to force myself to get off that sofa. And I have to force myself to get dressed. I have to force myself to put my shoes on. I have to force myself to get out of the door and get in the car and drive to the dojo. I have to then force myself to go through the doors. And that's it. Once I'm through those doors, everything disappears. I'm no longer worried or scared. I'm there and I can do this. So I suppose that's my motivational bit. It's not very motivational. I look very tired. I am very tired. I had some JWs come round the door this morning, or sort of midday. I won't keep you long, you look like you've just woken up. No, I'm just really tired. But it's not, I'm not physically tired, I'm mentally tired. And that's one of the biggest things, isn't it? That you've got to force yourself. You feel really tired and exhausted and fed up, I suppose, with everything. But once you get to where you need to be to feel good. So for me, it's the dojo. Once I'm there and once I've finished the session, I'm physically tired, but I'm no longer mentally tired. Not really. I'm motivated, I suppose. And now that I'm home, I could walk through that door. I'm physically tired a little bit because that was a hard session. So, but I know if I go and sit down, that's it for the rest of the day. I'm not getting back up, and I don't want to do that. I do want to go and sit down, but really, I've got other things to do. I've got to rebed the chickens, and I need to plant more stuff, more veg, and repot some of the stuff that's growing already. You might think that's too early. I've got them inside with a fan on them and some lights to... Obviously the lights help them grow, but I've also got a fan blowing at them to try and strengthen them up for when they go outside. Obviously, first they'll go into the greenhouse to help acclimatise them, and then they'll go outside. So I've got all that to do, and it's now the 1st of February, so really I need to start getting them used to getting outside, because as soon as that last frost hits, probably, it'll probably be middle of March before they can really go out into the ground. But I've got a lot of work to do. I've got to prepare the ground and sort all that out. So, my choices are: I go inside, make myself a cup of tea and something to eat, and then I'll have those, not turn the TV on or anything, and then go and put more straw in the chickens and go and sit down with my plants, so I can be sat down, but I can be doing stuff. Or I could go in, make myself that cup of tea and something to eat, sit down and turn the PlayStation on. And that's what I really want to do. My head just really wants to go. I'm addicted to it. I want to go and put the PlayStation on and just sit there for the rest of the day. But I know that that's not going to do me any good. So that's my battle for, once I go through those doors, is a battle with myself. Do I choose the easy, lazy thing, which is what right now is like 80% of what I want to do? Or do I do the hard thing and and I've got to really, really push myself to be like, no, you're going to get up and you're going to go into your planting room and you're going to do stuff. All my straw and stuff, it's basically the spare room, like the doom room. I've got all my stuff in there, and that's sort of my tinkering room, I suppose. So that's where I am now. I've also got to do some videos for TikTok. I'm doing building Legos. I did a Darth Vader one. Obviously, I built most of it and then just filmed putting the last bit on. And that's on my TikTok, which